Come to believe by some butternut cheese on the wall where we see California. When you settle on time to reiterate California. I love making fun of that song. And the There I Ruined It version is the superior version. I used to be able to play that song, believe it or not. Well, that was spooky. I couldn't play the whole thing. I couldn't do all the fancy little riff work they do on that song, but you know? Ow! Oh, it's a wonderful day in the neighborhood, a wonderful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? These beginning moments of a stream are always so awkward because, like, there's all kinds of things we can always talk about. I mean, I'm the type of dumbass that could just sit here and talk your ear off all day long, 3 hours at a clip about whatever, you know. But I don't know exactly where to go, you know, because you don't know where the audience's mind is until you get it, you know, like until you get some feedback, right? Until you get some people in the chat. What's up, Jareth? Finally, some life in this chat. Make sure you guys are hitting that like button as you roll in, by the way. It really does help the channel, and it costs you absolutely nothing. You know, all it takes is a little double tap on your screen or a little hit of the like button right over there, and you've liked the channel. And that tells YouTube, hey, recommend more content. This chick's making some pretty good shit. Which you might not be able to tell that yet, but once some people get in here and we start having some arguments, I think you'll see why it's pretty entertaining in here. DC Crackdown, forgive me, I've been busy with work and out of the loop. Perseus, it's been so long. It's been so long, hon. I can't believe you're in here. That's actually really cool. What's up, Perseus? Yeah, so Trump has gone full fucking authoritarian fascist on DC. He has, like, done National Guard deployments in DC. He's federalized the DC police. Now, there's a bunch of rules and procedural things that limit Trump to the amount of time that he can keep this going, right? But he's currently trying to introduce legislation that will allow him to keep that an indefinite thing. So he's basically trying to end home rule in DC, which I consider a massive, massive step back in the progressive tendencies of our country's governance, right? We've been allowing Washington, D.C. to run itself as a city since like the 70s or something like that. Now we're beginning to see that kind of peeled back a little bit, and it's really sad because to me, I think that America's like honestly best represented by our big cities. That's where the most people live. That's where American culture comes from. It's not from the farms. It's not from the fucking little country towns and shit like that. People would say, "Oh, country music, bullshit. Country music doesn't come out of country music doesn't come out of Burnsville, Mississippi. Country music doesn't come out of fucking Hog Balls, Arkansas. Country music doesn't come out of fucking Dothan, Alabama. You know where country music comes from? Nashville and Los Angeles, an increasing amount of it." So like, you think about American culture, I think you should think about America's big cities. And in that way, Washington, D.C., in my opinion, kind of serves as a bit of a bulwark to make sure that senators and people in our government actually know what people on the ground really think. They have to confront it at least a few times a year. They have to confront what the people who actually make up the large conglomerations of population in this country actually think. Most country music is just pandering. 100%. Yeah. No shirt, no shoes, no juice. Strike that last one. A rural noun, a simple adjective. I walk and talk like a field hand, but the boots I'm wearing cost $3,000. I write songs about riding tractors from the comfort of a private jet. I could sing in Mandarin, you'd still know I'm pandering. Hunting deer and chasing trout, a Bud Light with the logo facing out. Hear that subtle mandolin, that's textbook pandering. I sing songs for the people who do jobs in the towns that I'd never move to. Y'all ain't heard that song yet? Come on now. I'll be goddamned if my Mississippi ass is ever going to be caught dead listening to pop country. Make sure you guys hit that like button, by the way. There's 350 people watching right now. If half of you guys hit that like button instantly, we would have 175 likes like that. So double tap your screen or hit the little like button. I think it's over here maybe. But that just basically tells YouTube, hey, I like this content. You've been watching for this long. You definitely like it. So hit the button. Do me a favor. We ain't liking, increasing amounts of you like every time I bring it up. So I'm going to bring it up again. Hit that like button, guys. Hit that like button. Costs you nothing. Even if you hate me, you should hit the like button. You know why? Because even if you despise my ass, you should want more people to get in here and argue with me, right? If I'm that stupid and that reprehensible, it shouldn't be any problem at all to find somebody that can take me down, right? Go to the gym, buy me a membership. Seek professional help immediately. What kind of professional help do you know that I don't get? Self-righteous cunt. Dude, people think being online is an excuse for them to run around like they've got doctor's badges and shit. Mr. Naughty Priest, the legend, the man, the myth, the legend has returned to bless this channel yet again with another silent but deadly $100 super chat. Praise be to God. I mean, Mr. Naughty Priest, praise be, okay? Hail him with great praise. Praise this man. This man has done you all a massive favor. Massive favor. Seriously, though, Mr. Naughty Priest, thank you for that. I appreciate it massively. You're always appreciated in here, dog. For real, for real. And I appreciate, like, honestly, I guess it's not my place to appreciate you for this, but I actually, like, really appreciate the fact that you've been so supportive of the DFF boys, because I like them too. And you know, it feels good to be part of a community that's really supportive of the creators who we watch and everything. It feels good. It's like crowdfunding. I love it, you know? Like the stream. Yes, exactly. Like the stream to keep children out of Trump's basement. Yes, exactly. Like the stream to keep children out of Trump's basement. It's the only way you can do it. You need all the help you can get. Use this to get money to go to words therapy or something. Well, thank you, Cryptail. I appreciate that. Canadian $5. If anybody else wants to donate, feel free. I do read every single super chat I get and acknowledge them and appreciate them all a ton. And make sure you guys hit that like button. If you haven't hit that like button already, please do it this time. It does not hurt you at all. In fact, it helps your experience. Whether you hate me and want to see me disagreed with, or love me and want to see me cherished and adored or whatever, you should want to hit the like button, because either way, you're going to get a good time. Either you're somebody that hates me, that will be benefited from seeing more people interact with my channel, or you're somebody that really likes me and you'll be benefited from seeing more people interact with my channel. You know? So come on. If I could ask, why do you not like Trump? Yeah, of course you can ask. That's what this whole stream is for, is asking questions. So my main gripe I have about Trump right now is that Trump claims to be an anti-war president, but he doesn't seem to be very interested in engaging in actual diplomacy when it comes to Ukraine, or in engaging in really anything other than just bare naked fucking outright adoration for Israel when it comes to that conflict. So when it comes to the Ukraine-Russia thing, right, we had this big summit in Alaska a couple of days ago, and what have been the results of that? Not a goddamn thing. Nothing happened as a result of it. Marco Rubio himself came out and said, well, we're not on the precipice of a peace deal. I mean, it was productive. His exact words were something like, it's productive, but in the sense that we found some more areas of agreement, but there are still large areas of disagreement, so we are no closer to any kind of deal. And it's just fucking ridiculous, dude. This dude pushed himself as an anti-war president. He derided Biden and every other Democrat that's ever ran as being pro-war. Not that I've got some stake in upholding the reputation of the Democrats, but I think it's worth noting when a president claims to be anti-war, when a president says, I'm going to end the wars, I'm going to get America out of these forever wars, I'm going to keep America safe, we're going to have peace through strength. You know, when a president says that, what you expect them to do is go to some of these places that have been warring and be like, listen, you guys are cutting this shit out now. Now. Period. Ukraine is joining NATO, and Russia is going to get to keep a little bit of fucking Crimea. They're going to get to keep a little bit of the Donbass. I'm sorry. I know that makes you fucking very sad, okay? But this fighting shit has to stop. You got to stop sending your children to die in trenches. This is ridiculous. That's what an anti-war president would sound like. You know why you haven't heard that out of Donald Trump? Because he's not a motherfucking anti-war president. And you guys are a bunch of dupes. Not my ass. I was smart enough not to vote for either of the fucking errant candidates we were given last year. I was smart enough to see through both bullshit screens. How about that? People hate to hear that, though. I'm going to go ahead and go on idiot mode just so that we can get a more readable chat, because right now it's like impossible to read anything that's being said. So, you know, we'll just set it to like a 1 minute sub time, and then we'll set it to like a 15-second message delay. And that should prevent most of the skibbities from actually interacting long form with the content. Most of them are just going to bounce off this shit once they see that there's a slow mode and a sub only mode activated. Yeah, that should make the chat readable again. What's up, everybody? Well, we're back, but I don't know how fucking long. My phone's wanting to be a bitch for some reason. I don't know. I had my phone stopped recognizing the charge or something. I don't pretend to know. 1 second it was working, the next second it was shutting down. But it's been having charging port issues for a while, so that's probably all it is, you know? Once again, I want to remind you guys to hit that like button if you haven't hit it already. It really does help. Every single time you hit that like button, there's another chance to send the stream out to even more people, which increases the quality of your viewing pleasure by increasing the number of people that can engage in the chat, making all of this that much more interesting. You only use subscriber-only chat because you can't take criticism? Don't let the dab gods get you. They'll strike you down. Anyway, as for these ludicrous allegations that I use subscribers only mode to somehow hide from criticism, then explain to me how, despite that, I read literally hours worth of it. No, but seriously, it's got nothing to do with criticism. It's got to do with the fact that before the stream cut out, there was like 500 people hanging out in here, which makes the chat pretty incomprehensible because everybody that participates in an internet chat thinks they are the main character of that chat. And some people learn how to rein that in. Some people figure out how to be good audience members, good parts of an online community, and some people never figure that skill out. The people who never figure that skill out make these chats unfucking readable when I don't have subscribers only mode on. And considering that's such an instantaneous and effective fix, I see no reason why I shouldn't do it. Especially at times like that, when I can literally get a bunch of people who want to do nothing but talk shit on me to subscribe to me. Why wouldn't I do that, my friend? Haters are your best fans. This is a lesson that I've learned from Paul Zigo, that he learned from Howard Stern, that I think that Stern probably learned from people like Carlin, and Carlin probably learned from people like Lenny Bruce, you know? There is a real opportunity to be gained in courting controversy, and baby, I'm happy to do it. Y'all want to make trans people controversial in America? Fine. I'm going to ride that wave. Only you can put out forest fires, and only you can stop trans panic from enabling trans YouTubers to make a living off of haters just because they're trans. Because that's effectively all I do. I argue with people about my right to exist or not, and I make money off of it. That's my channel. Occasionally we argue about the news or politics and everything else, but really, most of that's just for a few specific people to put my beliefs into the context of me being trans. I mean, there's like other people in my audience too, you know, luckily for me, but I would be lying if I said that's not a huge predominance of it. But I would be foolish not to take advantage of a social climate like this, right? I came out as trans at a time where like a lot of people that had never come out were starting to come out, and like there was a lot more support for trans people openly and everything. There were a lot more open and like abashed allies and shit. That seems to be a shrinking kind of phenomenon now. But ultimately, trans people were just not that controversial when I came out as trans. And, you know, when we started to become controversial, you know, for a long time, I just tried to ride under the radar of that controversy. But the more I thought about it, really, the more I realized, like, why? Why would I? I'm proud of who I am. Not necessarily because I'm trans, but I don't think that me being trans takes away from that in any way. You know, and for me, that's what I mean when I say I've got pride or whatever. That's what pride means, is being able to see yourself as legitimate and valid, being able to see your own self-worth, despite the fact that some people diminish your self-worth on the basis of your being queer or your being trans, or etc. What does your channel mostly focus on? In the past, I've seen you touch on politics, and since our country is currently in the middle of erupting, I thought maybe we could go there. We definitely can, Jack. Yeah, the channel is mostly about political, kind of philosophical, cultural conversations. So yeah, that's totally within the line of our topic area. I don't know what you would call it, but you go what I mean. It's totally within our genre. Who's your favorite artist? Ooh, that's a hard one. Oh, you know what? Honestly, it's not, but it's a cheesy one. And everybody's going to think I'm just being a basic bitch. I know about Jean-Michel Basquiat, you know. I know about Pedro Pascal. I know about, right? That's who I'm thinking of? Or is that the drug dealer dude? Anyway, I know about fucking Van Gogh and shit. You know who my favorite painter of all time is, for real, though? It's none of those dudes. It's fucking Bob Ross. If I'm being completely honest with you, like, whose art do I find the most to just sit and stare at? Bob Ross. Who can I watch paint the most? Bob Ross. Who can I relate to most as a human being? Bob Ross. Who painted the most relatable fucking paintings I've ever seen in my life? Bob Ross. Because he painted landscapes. He painted things that you could go out and see. And the beautiful thing about Bob Ross paintings is that every single one exists out there in the world somewhere. Not necessarily because he went to a place and painted an exact replica of that painting, but because Bob Ross was able to master a style of painting that allowed him to evoke a place via describing a place through his artwork. And so you can see those places when you go to actual beautiful landscapes out in the world. So yeah, Bob Ross, 100%. This Shrek is just background noise for my comment section. Righteous. I think they meant musicians. Oh, maybe they did. If you meant musicians, that's a hard one, honestly. It's kind of a tough one. I go all over the place with the musicians question. Never mind, we have a hero modder. I don't think anybody's being a hero modder. I think you might be reading into something a little much. I'll see if you commented anything else, though. No, I don't see anything else. Oh, here we go. Can you make me a mod so I can ban these idiots, or do you want them hanging around? Specifically, idiots trying to trick you into saying slurs. It's not that I want them around, it's that their engagement tells YouTube just as much as anybody else's engagement does, right? Right now, there are 127 people watching. We've got 29 likes, and we're up to 104 in super chats, thanks to Naughty Priest's amazing $100 donation, and someone else's $5 donation. It's really kind of both of you guys, but especially Naughty Priest, we love it. And that engagement, that's worth gold. All of those different numbers mean different things and translate differently into channel success, but ultimately they are all gold. And while I don't think about the numbers 24/7 while I'm doing this, right? I try not to. I try to just focus on the conversation. But since you brought it up, you're asking me a question, which whether you realize it or not is kind of touching on like the background process of what you're watching. So just to explain that, I like having some of these idiots around because number one, the dumbest and most hateful people are the best springboards for leftist argumentation. Nobody makes a better argument for leftism than a hillbilly trying to refute leftism. Nobody makes a better argument for all of the things that me and people like me advocate for than some uneducated redneck that's never read anything trying to refute any of the points that we make. So leaving these people in the room, leaving these people in the chat, even if ultimately all they're trying to do is they're not even trying to participate in the conversation, they're just trying to trick me into saying the N-word or something like that. Even if that's all they're doing, they're encouraging other people to be a little light and loose with their lips. Who knows what other weird ideas that might come popping out of the chat at a time like this when people feel so loosey-goosey about what they might say. And I live on that shit. That's my bread and butter. Can you answer my question? Go ahead and re-ask it, Brooke. I try not to scroll up too much unless I miss a super chat or something like that, because it just breaks up the chat, and I end up looking at the views, and there's like 20 people watching because I'm like responding to one person's chat from 20 minutes ago, Should I be ashamed of making $2,800 a month from making adult videos? Hell no. You should be proud of yourself for that shit. Be proud of yourself. I don't care what gender or sex you are either. Whether you're a cis man or a cis woman or a trans man or a trans woman or a non-binary person, I don't care. No matter what position you're in, you should be proud of yourself for that shit. But honestly, I will say if you're a cis man, you should be even more proud of yourself because cis men just don't do well as independent porn producers on their own usually. So if you're a cis man doing that, you should really fucking clap yourself on the back and be proud of yourself for putting in that hustle. Sex work is real work. Sex work is real fucking work. There's nothing easy, simple, or forgettable about sex work. And the people who think sex work is this easy thing that takes no effort are the people who are lazy motherfuckers in bed who've never had sex outside of the missionary position. So that's all they picture sex as being, maybe occasionally some doggy style. That's all they picture when they see a prostitute in bed, in the completion of their duties, essentially. That's what they picture, but that's not what's going on. Prostitutes get asked to do all kinds of weird, crazy shit. And whether you're a prostitute or which I know that word has negative connotations, but I don't really know why it should. But unless you're a prostitute or something like that, you don't really have to worry about like the in-person meetings and shit like that. It's not like there's not as many danger factors there. But even then, you know, although I will say I've never met a cis man. I've never met a gigolo. I'll just say it. I've never met a gigolo, trans well, no, I did know one gigolo, but he was a trans guy, so he still had a vagina, which I think is like, if you're looking at it, like if you're trying to like place yourself in the awkward, fucked up math of the cisgender male brain, you have to imagine that probably plays in a lot, right? Because like there's got to be a reason why like lesbian porn is so fucking popular in the deep south and in places where people claim to hate gay people so much, What do you think about the Trump-Putin summit? Supposedly whatever happened, they've kept to themselves. Heard people were scared. News outlets said Levitt looked ashen. Well, I'll tell you what, Jack. What we've heard in the aftermath of that has not been promising if you're a person who cares about Ukrainian sovereignty. And while I favor a diplomatic solution to end the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, I support Ukrainian sovereignty, ultimately. I want them to be able to self-govern. I want them to be able to self-determine, because self-determination is what I want for every fucking group. And I think that, in order for me to be a proper anarcho-syndicalist, I've got to want people to preserve their kind of locality-based democratic units. So, if you're a person looking at the conflict from that standpoint, the meeting didn't turn out good. How could it have? How could it have? Think about the things that Trump is saying now. Trump is now telling Ukraine that they need to accept that they're never going to join NATO and that they need to give up the Donbass, those are Russian terms. That's literally what Russia's been asking for since like 2014. Is a guarantee that Ukraine will never join NATO and the complete like ceding of this territory in southeastern Ukraine and the Crimean Peninsula, which they took over the Crimean Peninsula. They took over Crimea and shit, but now they've managed to take over a big swath of the Donbass too. And Russia has been saying for basically like the beginning, like the renewal of this conflict has been all about securing the Donbass, and then the peace process in Putin's mind ends with Ukraine signing some kind of deal with with the Russian government that prevents them from joining NATO for some certain amount of time. Maybe for life. I don't know. And that's what Trump is now telling people that they need to accept. So if you're unless you're on the outright pro-Russia side, I don't know how you look at this as a win. I don't know how you look at this as a win unless you're on the outright pro-Russia side. You're looking beautiful. Thank you. I appreciate that. By the way, if anybody wants their question to be read or their comment to be read or anything like that, make sure you hit that super chat button up. I do read every single one as long as it doesn't break TOS, and I do appreciate them all very, very much. Phoebe's getting flashbacks from that comment. Yeah, exactly. It is dab o'clock. You're right. You're right. But today, all I have in the form of dabs o'clock is this. I've got a THCA pen. But yeah, it's got to be scary to be it's got to be scary to be like a Ukrainian right now, or to be like anybody involved in the high level strategy of this shit from the standpoint of being pro Ukraine. I can see why that one person looked ashen coming out of the meeting, because like if the aftermath of this meeting has been anything to go off of, what was discussed in that meeting was not positive. It seems very clear that Putin is being very, very, very fucking obstinate, and Trump is too much of a pussy to push back. Either that, or Putin managed to woo him somehow. I don't know. Like, Trump is a very easily charmed man. Flattery is a very instant route to his heart. So who the fuck knows, right? But it's not looking like Trump wants to exercise any kind of like forceful kind of control over this narrative, or kind of control over the outcome, or anything like that. Is there a strong LGBTQ presence where you live? No, I live in the deep south. No, I'm pretty much surrounded by straight, like cishet people. That's okay though. While it would be nice to have some community solidarity, I manage. How often / what times do you stream? I only ever kind of randomly find you. Well, that's because like I have a stream schedule up, but I've got, like, despite what certain people online will tell you, I've actually got a pretty full life. And so as a result of that, sometimes I don't end up streaming until like an hour and a half after my scheduled stream time. In fact, that's usually how it ends up going. So I should be, you can start to look for me anytime after 10 p.m. CST. Anytime after 10 p.m. CST. And once life eases up a little bit to the point where I can institute a more normal schedule, I'm going to, or at least like stick to the one that I have. But as of right now, it's just kind of hard to get that going properly, if that makes sense. Ukraine is Ukrainian. Go watch the many videos of history of Ukraine. They are not Russian. No, I don't think they are. Talk about Gaza. Ukraine is Russian. Ukraine is not Russian. Ukraine is definitely its own distinct little place and its own distinct little culture. They are not fucking Russian. But I would honestly argue that none of the fucking people living in like, here's the fucking thing. Ukrainians aren't Ukrainian, but Russians aren't Russian either. But insofar as a Russian is a Russian and a Ukrainian is a Ukrainian, a Russian is not a Ukrainian and a Ukrainian is not a Russian. I know I just sounded like Donald Rumsfeld, but a leftist when I said that, right? Okay, so let me break it down. I don't believe in countries. I don't believe in borders. I think that there are better, more efficient ways to organize human beings into political frameworks. But while this is the political framework that we have to operate under, I think that it's meaningful to distinguish between this and that, especially when the lack of a distinction can be used to justify some kind of imperialism or colonialism, some kind of war, which is what Russia is doing with Ukraine. They're similar cultures, they're sister cultures, you could say. So let them have a joint festival on the border. They can have it in 3 spots. Employ 3 times as many people. Have a fucking joint festival, like a little fucking Russo-Ukrainian unity festival. Yeah, there you go. I've even come up with a name for you. The Russo-Ukrainian, or the Ukrainian-Russian, I don't know how you should put it, right? But the Ukrainian-Russian Unity Fair. The URUF. URUF. Yeah, it even has a nice fucking acronym, okay? URUF. Start putting on URUF every year. You know, fucking, instead of bombs, let's have some fireworks. Instead of tanks, let's have some beer and vodka. Instead of bullets, let's have some borscht. Yeah, that's something they be eating over there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, let's have some of that shit. Instead of missiles, let's have some beef stroganoff. Come on now. I'm an American, dude. I was raised by a political system that brought the world Henry Kissinger. You have to understand where I'm coming from. My hope is that with all this turmoil, that we can look back in 20 or 30 years and see that after all this turmoil, there was something to be achieved. A new world peace achieved through a global interdependence. All of this is to say, I care ultimately a lot less about what's ultimately right and what's ultimately wrong according to this, that, or the other moral, ethical standard or otherwise, and way more about getting people to stop killing each other en masse for needless fucking political conflict, basically. For what amounts to two countries that are like being bellicose towards one another, all because one wing of the negotiations refuses to exercise a little fucking diplomatic strength. I really believe that the U.S. fucking went to Ukraine and Russia and was like, okay, listen, like I said earlier, like I'll do it again. Here's what would make me give a big old round of applause for Trump. Here's how he could do it. He brings Zelensky and Putin to a meeting. Their security's not invited. American fucking military might provides the goddamn security. And they sit across from the table from one another, but they're all both kind of angled toward Trump, right? And like I said, this is what he could do to earn to earn a round of applause from me, right? He looks at both of them and he says, listen, you two have been fighting for over 10 years now. It's done. It's over. Putin, you have no right to demand that Zelensky's country cannot join our great and lovely NATO, that wonderful alliance that we have with many willing countries, many willing. Zelensky, you have no right to deny Putin the ability to trade with the rest of the world, with the seaports, to get into Crimea with an easier pathway. These are things we can resolve diplomatically, and if you don't want to do that, then America will be forced to take it to stronger measures. Stronger measures will be needed. More bombs, more tanks. Mr. Zelensky will be a very happy man. Because I'm tired and sick of the fighting. Tired and sick, folks. Believe me, I know tired, I know sick. That's what Trump could do. Trump does that, says, okay, Russia, you ain't preventing them from joining NATO. That's bullshit. That's retarded. Fucking quit it. And Ukraine, you ain't preventing Russia from getting into Crimea. Sorry, bud. I know. Big fucking tears, big F's in the chat, okay? But there's going to be like 100 miles of land, whatever it is. I don't know how exactly many miles of land it would be. But there's going to be a strip that you're ceding to Russia. And then there's going to be a co-governance zone where you and Putin will work together on a project for once in your lives to do something as a team. Do you know how fucking cataclysmic that would be in terms of American and Russian relations? That would be an effective end to the Cold War that everyone claims ended in the 90s but didn't. That would actually be a meaningful end to the Cold War, because that would finally set the stage for an inroad between the West and Russia, who have been so bellicose with each other for the last fucking 100 years. Damn, Phoebe double fist in the vapes. That's wacky. Aw, Margot, you're being... Aw, that... Margot didn't mean it, I'm sure, but that kind of... that hurt my feelings a little bit. No, it didn't. It didn't hurt my feelings, but it's fucking, damn, called out. Called out like a motherfucker. No, one of them's a THC vape and the other's a nicotine vape, so whatever. I guess I shouldn't be embarrassed, really. So it wasn't a diss. See, I'm just oversensitive. You forgive me, though. dude, now that most of you guys are gone, because I did not want to talk about this shit while there were a lot of people in here, because I don't want to send more eyes over to his muckraking, like, BS fucking time-wasting, like, bullshit channel. But there's a certain YouTuber who posted a, like, another muckraking accusation video against one of the folks that comes in here pretty often, and one of the people I've watched on YouTube for years. And I went and trolled in their chat today. Dude, this was the saddest fucking thing I've ever witnessed, okay? You guys got it. You ain't gonna believe this shit, okay? They had two, count them, 2 viewers. When I entered, it went up to 3. The highest it peaked in like 30 minutes of trying to fuck around with them was 5. Oh, and I was fucking something like, damn, you'd think a muckraking video about a big YouTuber would really get the views flowing, but guess not. Dude, trigonometry, bro. Motherfucker got pissed. Motherfucker was like audibly shaking with rage. Motherfucker was audibly shaking with rage. And he banned me on that account, so I went over to another one. He banned me on that one, so I went over to another one. And he banned me on that one, so I ran over to another one. Fucking I love YouTube, bro. I fucking love YouTube. Shit. Let me ask, why the trans flag? Because I'm trans. I'm trans and I like people to know, right? I don't like it to be ambiguous. I like, whatever. Some people say I don't pass. Other people say I do. I don't want it to be ambiguous. How much longer do we have you? That's a good question. Let me see what time it is. Well, it's 12:35. I normally stream till about 2, so probably another hour and a half, honestly. I mean, I don't know if I'll stay the whole hour and a half, of course, but I shoot for at least 2 hours a night, and we're sitting at 45 minutes right now, so probably another hour and 15 minutes at least. Like I said, I might choose to do some of that on guitar. Sometimes I will end this and go do a busking stream. If someone donates $5 or more specifying that that's what they want me to do, I'm more than happy to do that, to end this one, start a new one. We'll busk, and that donation would normally buy you 1 song, but tonight it actually buys you 3 effectively, because there are 3 songs already on the docket. So really it buys you 4, because I always give the person who initiates the busking stream a request, and then anybody else, right, who's got requests from the other night, they get folded into the next night that I do it. So complicated, I know, but yeah, you've got me for a while. I'm so bored. Painted my kitchen earlier and cried. Now I'm here. Nice, Jack. That's really cool. Wait a minute. Trying to remember some details. Were we ever friends on Facebook? You and I, chat? I don't know why, but the way you type reminds me of an old Facebook friend. I'm probably insane. Whatever. Hope he bans this account too. Trans people are confused as hell. T. Holden, I ain't banned shit, brother. I ain't banned shit. I don't touch the poop. My mods handle that kind of thing for me. Okay, cool. No, that's fine, Jack. No, I just, like, I don't know. Your name and the way you typed just reminded me of somebody. Yeah. But yeah, no, that's cool. I love home improvement projects. I love deep cleaning. I love it when you've got like a place that really needs cleaning and you wake up and you've got the energy and you're low pain enough to do it. Well, I say that like everybody suffers from fucking chronic pain, but for me, it really is like a 50-50 on any given day, whether I wake up, feeling good enough to do what are normally considered pretty basic tasks. It's actually a pseudonym, kind of. I've been told I'm an asshole. I mean, I've been told that too. Sometimes I think that that's just a way for people to, like, dismiss the fact that they don't have any arguments. It's like a way to dismiss you without actually arguing against you. It's just like a way to dismiss the very idea of your character. It's just like, oh, you're such an asshole. It's like, okay, alright. What does that mean for me? No, really, ask somebody next time. What does that mean for me? Nobody ever has a good answer for it. No, Tyson wasn't a mod. Tyson was a member, but I think Tyson had a gifted membership, and their membership expired. Maturing is realizing you probably are an asshole. Yeah. I mean, that's honestly, yeah. Part of maturing is realizing that, yeah, you can be a cunt too sometimes, okay? And it's honestly, it's something that some kids learn as kids. It's something that some people legitimately learn it as children, and it follows them the rest of their lives. And then other people never learn it at all. I want to start streaming, but I'm kind of nervous. I have really bad social anxiety. Do you have any tips? Oof. I don't know that I'd be the best person to get tips from, like with that specific context in mind, because I am the complete opposite. But then again, the reason I'm the complete opposite is because of specific steps that were taken, that I took and that were taken when I was a teenager and a young adult to make sure that I would be able to function despite my deficits, right? So I was born with autism, and like the inability, not the inability, but the difficulty that comes with socializing for a lot of autistic people can manifest itself not just in the overall difficulty, not just in the overall, like, not picking up on basic social cues and things like that. It can also end up presenting as social anxiety, because you don't exactly know. Because, like, I think a lot of people here, they can't pick up on social cues, and they don't really know what autistic people and like, autism doctors basically mean when they say that. And what they mean is, like, I mean, honestly, I could point out examples in even my own behavior, but I think it's up to every individual autist to decide what behaviors are, like, socially acceptable in what context and everything else, and, like, learn from that example when it comes to things that don't hurt anybody, right? So, like, you have to accept the consequences as they come in public. I'm a real fucking stickler for people not using their autism as an excuse to be a douchebag in public, I mean, some people genuinely have, like, like, if you've got autism comorbid with certain other neurodivergencies, it can make you, like, less capable of maintaining a tight grip on your behavior in public, but even then, it's usually not that kind of person that you see making a stink anywhere out in public, it's just not. It's people that are supposedly fucking neurotypical. But yeah, so point is, I had a lot of social anxiety growing up because I didn't start getting like autism specific care until I was probably like 10 years old, and or maybe 8, I guess would probably be a better guesstimate. I didn't get autism specific care until I was around 8, which is my understanding pretty normal, but it didn't start to really make a dent in my ability to socialize until the end of high school. So think about all that time, and during that time, I went to 3 different schools, 3 different high schools. So 3 different strategies, 3 different fucking sets of teachers. It was wild. It was 100% wild. And what ultimately led to me being able to finally break myself of social anxiety it didn't end up being anything in the school system anyway. It actually ended up being just real world experience. I mean, the fact that I had a good capacity with language kind of set me apart from certain other like autistic kids that I went to school with, for example. A lot of my fellow autists weren't like this good at actually talking. Like a lot of them, like if they were writing, perfectly fine, perfectly legible, perfectly understandable. They start talking, you would think they were a moron if you didn't know them, and that's not their fault. I'm being a little edgy, but for real though, it's not actually their fault. They're not. They're like bright people that have a mental condition that makes it more difficult for them to piece words together in a verbal way. And the fact that I didn't have that constraint, right, to my mental condition enabled me to start socializing. It gave me that baseline that I needed to get over a lot of the hips and hurdles that some people encounter when they first start to kind of go out of their shell. But what it was for me was a cashier job at Walmart. And, like that was how I learned how to deal with the public. That was how I learned how to deal with people on a one-to-one basis and how to look people in the eye and have an interesting conversation with them and how to banter with them. It's where I started to learn people's, like, honestly, it really did help to, it was almost like living, breathing therapy for my disorder, right? And I think it would probably apply to somebody who just has generalized social anxiety too. But you wouldn't necessarily need to do that specific thing. I'm not telling you to go out and get a cashier job. What I'm really telling you to do is, if you want to do what I'm doing as far as like streaming, right? I'm not like a giant high level streamer, right? Number one, we've been report brigaded at this point, so there's like hardly anybody in here because our channel is like, because this particular video is now like shadow banned from YouTube effectively. It's on the adults only streamer fucking algorithm. So, but like normally we've got way more people hanging out in here, and I really do believe that all of that is predicated on just a shit ton of time socializing and doing shit that I've got stories to tell about, which is nice. But as far as like actual tips and tricks for doing the thing itself, well, I guess I have a few. I guess if I really think about it, number one, wearing something that you think you look cute in, or that you look good in, or whatever, is a big part of feeling confident on camera. If you feel confident when you look in the mirror, you're going to feel confident on camera as well, or there's at least a higher likelihood that you will. Learning how to use angles to your advantage is a thing that you can do, because like I don't have the angle perfect right now, but if my camera was just a little bit further upwards, I would look pretty fucking ginormously fat. Even though I'm not, like, I would look fatter than I actually am, and I'm pretty fucking fat, but just that little change of angle could change everything, make me even heavier, at least in the eyes of the camera. So angles are something to keep in mind, right? Lights, if you're planning on having yourself on camera and shit, you're just going to have to get used to the idea of having bright lights in your face, and, it sucks, but I don't really know what to recommend that isn't that. Like, you don't, unless you want to just have like a virtual avatar and just have yourself be like an AI voice and an AI character or something like that. I really don't know what else to say about that one. It is one of those sucky things you kind of gotta get used to. Like right now, you guys probably think that I'm just like sitting in a room with like one light that's just really bright. No, I'm sitting in a room where I've got 2 different lamps burning. One is directly behind the camera, and another is like off to the side, providing some like directional lighting. How does autism disable you besides social skills? I don't even really know if it disables me in social skills. I don't know that my autism disables me in any way. For real, for real. I don't know though. I've never sought disability, so I've never had to like plead the case that I am disabled, nor have I heard anyone explain why I'm not. So I really don't know. What I do know is that I've worked my entire life since I've been able to, and probably will for the rest of my life. Given the sorry state of politics here in America, I doubt very seriously there will ever be a UBI that allows people to just do what they're passionate about. And given that, I'm probably gonna work myself to the grave like every other fucking person does in this country. Well, except the fucking NEETs, but they're such a small percentage of the population. My autism makes me hate loud noises and listen to bee sounds. I mean, I also am not a big fan of loud noises. Now, is that just because loud noises are annoying, or is that connected to my autism? You know, probably connected to the autism. But I don't know. For me, it can be like there's all kinds of sounds that'll do that. That'll like induce that. You know, not I have all the normal reactions to the horrible sounds like nails on chalkboard and that kind of thing. You know, but um, like any kind of like overly loud sound. Like I've never been a big fan of giant fucking blasting music in cars. Like every time I find it incredibly cringe when I get into somebody's car and they start blasting the fucking stereo and it's just like fuzzed out. They're playing it so loud you can barely hear a fucking thing going on. And I don't know. Part of me thinks that's just an autism thing because like I've hung out with so many other autistic people and none of them seem to be into the whole blast the music as loud as you can possibly get it thing. Loud music trigger the fuck out of me. It makes me feel bad because everyone else seems to love it. That's how I am too, Jack. Yeah, dude. Everybody in my life, everybody, I think in life in general, acts like it's the best thing ever. Like it's the fucking, like, God's great gift to mankind or some shit. And in reality, I think loud music is just another fucking piece of loud shit that we have to listen to as we go about our meaningless days. Like, oh no, somebody is driving by with their fucking obscenely loud music turned all the way up. Guess I'm gonna have to listen to their shitty lack of taste in music for a second. Yeah. Yeah, I've heard this one a million times. Okay, they're gone. I like punk music, but I low-key can't stand going to concerts. Dude, I love punk music, but I also am not the biggest fan of concerts, to be real with you. But I also have not been to that many. I will say some of the ones I've been to wasn't about it. But some of the ones I've been to, I was about it, you know? Like, the smaller the show, the more likely I am to enjoy it. Although I will say, even the one that I enjoyed probably the least, just because I was able to see it the least, I would say even that one I had a good time at, but it was mostly because I got really drunk, told a few good stories, got pretty stoned, and then uh I don't know. I don't know what happened after that. It must have been all right because here I am. But I'll be goddamned if I remember. You know what the sad thing is? You would think, you would think that with a response like that, Beeves must have gotten drunk on a bunch of mixed drinks. That that dirty whore. No, no. You know what I got drunk on that night? Twisted motherfucking tea. And yeah, why do people blast their car music so loud? Why do I have to literally feel your music? Because people are selfish fucking cunts, Gemma. Honestly, not everybody. Obviously, it's not everybody, but there are just some people that think that they're. I'm telling you, Gemma. You know what it is? It's main character syndrome. It's main fucking character syndrome. And I know everybody likes to joke about having main character syndrome nowadays, but really, like, that's someone who actually has main character syndrome. They think that their life is actually the most important fucking thing in the world. Now, I've got no fucking problem with you playing your music a little loud, right? You want to play it like loud? That's fine. But the more it damages your earbud, like the more it damages your fucking hearing, the more likely it is to damage a child's as you drive by them. The more likely it is to damage like animals as you drive by them. The more likely it is to disturb anybody as you drive by them. And the more fucking annoying, loud ass, reprehensible noise, unconquerable, endless noise that people have to deal with just because they live in a place with more than 7 people around. It's ridiculous. What's your opinion on political streamers like Destiny or Hassan? Oof. Destiny the Turbo Lib and Hassan the problematic lefty. I like Hassan on the whole a whole lot more than I like Destiny. I've got almost no respect for Destiny, but whatever. He's not looking for my respect. He wouldn't give a shit, so it doesn't really matter. But like I don't know. I look at Destiny as like an out of touch shit lib that wouldn't know actual fucking political action if it bit him on the ass. You know, like he wouldn't know meaningful change if it slapped him in the face with a giant salami. And I can't take a guy like that seriously, you know? He's out there denying the fucking Israeli genocide in Gaza. He's out there fucking simping for the Ukraine war, just advocating for us to let it continue ad infinitum. You know? Don't use any fucking strong authoritarian American military might in furtherance of a diplomatic solution. No. No, just endlessly ship them weapons for the rest of time. Till there's not a single Ukrainian left to defend themselves, I guess. And then you've got Hassan, who I think is probably, I think his heart's in the right place. Let me put it that way. I don't think Hassan is actually fucking anti-Semitic, but I do think he's got a real problem with courting edgy takes and one-liners and lines and things like that. He's got an image problem that he's going to have to work on. Didn't he also share around someone's nudes, Destiny? Yeah, no, I mean, like, that. And honestly, like, for my part, Destiny is way more powerful and does way more damage, in my opinion, as a political streamer who continues to advocate for things like voting for Joe Biden, who continues to advocate for. And by the way, Orangutan, you said Destiny is an extremist. I don't know how the fuck you could possibly call him an extremist. How the fuck do you call him an extremist, but I'm not an extremist? I mean, you've heard me rant about politics all day long. I want some wild shit. But I don't know. I haven't listened to enough fucking Destiny content, maybe. But anyway, extremist or no, Destiny is, in my opinion, way more harmful as a political advocate that continues to advocate for blind support of the Democratic Party in whatever they choose to happen than he is as someone who shares revenge porn. That's not to say that him sharing revenge porn or whatever is a good thing if that happened. You know, I haven't fucking kept up on the drama. I haven't seen the receipts, so I'm not saying one way or the other. Ain't really my business, frankly. I think that's between Destiny and the long arm of the law, or Destiny and the long arm of his lawyer. I don't know, but as far as that goes, I don't think he does as much damage with that as he does being a person that, in my opinion, is increasingly responsible for America's utter fucking unwillingness to turn away from this neoliberal path that we've been on for so long. Once again, not to say that it's a good thing, not to say that it's excusable or in any way. I'm just saying that when it comes to my criticism of him, I don't bring up the revenge porn shit first because it just feels muckrakery to me. Like, yeah, he did that shit, but, or at least it seems like he did that shit. But once again, like, I, I prefer to leave this shit up to the fucking courts of their legal jurisdiction, dude. Because the claims being made are legal claims. The claims being made are criminal claims. And if they're going to be assessed and prosecuted, then they need to be done so. And if not, then I think people need to probably shut the fuck up about it. Because if it's not going to be adjudicated, it's probably bullshit. I don't know if that's the correct way to use that word, but I think it is. I think Hassan is also getting called for that right now, too. Oh shit, is he really? Is he really, Gemma? That's wild. Well, I'll tell you this much. The internet is a fucking wild place. The internet is a wild place. There's no such thing as account security on the internet. There's no such thing as true privacy on the internet. A camera you snap on your phone is okay until you send that picture to another human being or post it anywhere online, no matter how private you think it is, or leave your phone connected to a Wi-Fi connection constantly, or let your phone get stolen. So really, just taking the picture by itself puts you in a position to have your shit compromised. And then you get into the fact that people just kind of like, and I know because I've certainly sent a lot of nudes to people that wanted to see them before, or like publicly uploadable channels or whatever, right? So I know as a person that likes to send nudes, there's like a fetish aspect to that. So you come to that aspect. Now, not everybody that sends one nude wants that displayed to the whole internet for all eyes to see. I get that, right? Which is why revenge porn is a bad thing. But what I'm trying to say is that people, I think, are going to start to become numb to this as as it really sinks in the harm that the internet has allowed people to inflict on one another, and the changed fucking media environment that we're in too. You know, the changed social media environment that we're in, the changed media environment in general. The governments of the world right now and corporations are trying their fucking best to rein in the internet, but they haven't succeeded yet. And I gotta tell you, I was born in '98. I've been using the internet actively since I was about 12 years old. They've been trying to do this since like 20. I mean, they've been trying to do this the whole time, really. But they got really serious about it, I think, somewhere in 2012, 2013, around when cell phones started becoming ubiquitous. And not just cell phones, but smartphones. Around the time when smartphones began to become utterly ubiquitous. And it I feel like every attempt of theirs has only worked in a half measure or less, and there's always fucking workarounds found, and there's always shit. Like it's just like it's a never-ending arms race between people that want to do uncouth shit online and the people who run the internet. Hassan said he has a folder of boobs that he'll send to his friends because they're just that amazing. Like, that's so gross. He was talking about it as if it was a flex. What if it's... Well, hold on, Gemma. Let me play devil's advocate for a second. What if it's... which it's probably not. I get that. But what if it was just titties that he sourced online from people who post their titties to be gawked at online? That would... I mean, that would be okay, right? Like, is it okay to share a nude? Like, let's say you find a nude on r/Gone Wild. Is it ethical to share that nude outside of Reddit? I feel like the answer is it depends, but maybe the answer is, I guess it probably just depends on the poster, whether or not they feel comfortable with that, ultimately. But yeah, I mean, just like as it sounds, as of right now, it sounds pretty awful. It sounds pretty indefensible. But I am curious as if there's any nuance at all to the way he was talking about it, you know? He said his fans sent them to him personally, and that's where it gets unethical because oh, yeah, no, that's not cool. No. Yeah. Not unless he's asking them beforehand. Like, whatever. Honestly, if it comes out, if, like, this accusation part of it ends up being, like, a bunch of these women coming out and saying, no, I mean, you know, like, yeah, Hassan does do that. Hassan does have that folder, but he also asked me to do that before doing that. If that comes out, then I'm going to be like, oh, okay, cool. Right on. But otherwise, that's horrible. Otherwise, that's revenge porn. Well, it's not even revenge porn, really. It's just like that, and that's really what I was trying to touch on just a second ago when I was talking about the changed nature of the internet, right? People like the internet has allowed like massive fucking breaches of social conduct to become so fucking simple, dude. Do you know the amount of effort? Like the way I grew up enabled me to see two different fucking sides of life, right? Life before the internet became ubiquitous and life after the internet became ubiquitous. And having older brothers and sisters that grew up at a time even before that, right? Who grew up with even more time without the internet and shit and came of age in a time before the internet and shit, all that. I got to know quite a bit about the olden golden times, the before times, if you will. Do you have any idea the amount of effort you would have had to go through to fucking get nudes of a person you knew way back in the day, let alone distribute them, right? Back in the day, even if you were somebody, like even if you were a famous person, you would probably get some nudes every so often. Women like having some photography equipment or whatever, or like getting like just a digital camera, not a digital camera, a disposable camera, and having some prints made of their breasts or whatever. Like I'm sure that sort of thing probably happened. You know, I'm sure that kind of thing happened if you were super fucking famous. But like normal people, just even not normal people, but even just like casually famous people weren't getting that. They probably weren't getting that kind of attention. And if they did want to get it from somebody, there was this whole courtship process for a lot of that time. Even when that kind of died off, there's still this kind of weird, like, you getting to know people phase and getting to kind of like be cuddly with them and then getting to be touchy with them. And that has just been completely eliminated, right? And I'm not saying that there's not some convenience to that. I'm not saying that there haven't been some benefits to this change that our society has made as a collective. But one of the things that it's taken away from us is our sense of accountability. And this doesn't just apply to the revenge porn thing either. This is a problem that is affecting all areas of the internet, up, down, top to bottom, left and right. It is a problem that is functionally making the internet incapable, or I'm sorry, it's making the internet functionally incapable of performing its, well, its functions, I guess. I hate to reuse a word like that, but apparently when Hassan was around Hassan would just have his phone open with nudes that fans sent, and he would just like leave his phone open. Dude, that Gemma, I gotta be real with you though, Gemma. That that stinks. That stinks. That stinks like a fucking overly dramatic story that somebody would make up for the drama, you know? Because like a narrative like that fits really well within the context. Because that's just, I don't know, it's just such a strange and outlandish thing to do. Maybe he really did. Maybe he really did. What I'm thinking happened based on that is like Ethan probably walked in on Hassan jerking off or some shit, which might be weird in itself. Or maybe Hassan fucking like had to go do something real quick and like just set his phone down on the table real quick, had some nudes on it, and somebody saw it. I don't know, but it just seems so fucking absurd. Like how did Ethan know that the nudes were from Hassan's fans? Was Hassan just bragging about this to everybody in the household? Was Hassan just like openly walking around stroking his dick to pictures sent to him by his fans and just like telling the rest of the house, like, yes, I'm currently jerking my cock to pictures sent to me by my fans, you know? It just sounds a little outlandish, is all. I'm not saying it didn't happen, I'm just saying it rings like one of those stories I would have heard during blood sports era in order to discredit somebody. Probably Ethan is the type of person to do that. Yeah, I mean, that's what makes me think it too, right? Is that we're talking about H3 Productions, which is like a drama show. Like, what else are they? What does Ethan Klein do? Like, he's right up there with Keem. They're lol cow milkers, they're drama milkers, they're drama mongers, they're fucking. I don't know what their main gig is, but that's what they do. That's what they are. Oh, I remember old YouTube, all right. I remember messaging with him on his website when I was like 15. Holy shit, Gemma. Was he actually a cult leader, or did he just have dedicated fans? Because sometimes I hear these things conflated. I still don't get celebrities slash influencers who text minor fans even if it's nothing weird. I think for some it's a desire to be like a mentor. Like maybe they didn't get to have kids of their own or some shit like that. They want to want to have that opportunity to give a kid some lessons or whatever. Even though really I don't think you should be doing that unless you're a kid's parents or a teacher or something like that, but whatever. I guess I can't talk no shit though, because I will give people advice on here just because they ask. It's not like I'm asking them for an ID first, so. But I also think that for some people, I mean, obviously there's some people that are just grooming kids, which is awful, but um, outside of that, I feel like it's either people that are looking at somebody as like the opportunity for them to be a mentor or some shit like that, or trying to do like community outreach, you know, like trying to like engage with regular participants in the community. And so it's like, even though you know they're technically like way too young to like be really watching the content, much less having a prominent position on it, you know, you still want to engage with them because you don't want to push them away, because you don't want to push like everybody away. I don't know. Hey, 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 hey. When my neighbor's kid comes outside to watch me garden, I'll help them identify plants and bugs. That's about the extent of mentoring advice I'll give to other people's kids, basic knowledge. Well, yeah, and that's what I'm saying, Black Bark, is like, I don't think that, like, kids should be looking for a mentor. What I'm trying to say, basically, is that I don't think kids should be looking for a mentor figure from somebody that's not in their real life, period. And sometimes that mentor figure that they figure, like, honestly, your parents should be your port of first call, but if they fail, it is great to have some neighbors that know some shit. Or even if your parents just don't have a complete compendium of knowledge, like most parents don't. It's nice to have a neighbor like you, Black Bark, that's around that can help someone learn things they might not have otherwise had access to the knowledge of. That, I mean, that kind of thing is just great. Like, why else would you text a literal kid other than just feeling the thrill of being so popular people go out of their way to text you? Yeah, I think, well, I mean, what other reason besides that, orangutan? Well, there's one really gross reason, and there's one reason that's kind of hard to believe given the severity of the gross reason, right? So, there you go, you know? Right, they were kids' TV show hosts, and not only that, but they were kind of like, they were removed from the kids who they were helping, really. And so there was like, and the feedback wasn't instant either. You couldn't text Mr. Rogers. You couldn't text Bob Ross. You couldn't text Bill Nye the Science Guy. You couldn't rely on Bill Nye the Science Guy to tell you what to do in the instance of your breakup. You couldn't rely on Bob Ross to tell you, you know, exactly how to draw up an architectural drawing or some shit like that. Miss Rachel is basically just a teacher, but online, yeah. Phoebe, is there any up-and-coming YouTubers you're following grow right now? Are there any up-and-coming YouTubers you're following grow right now? I'm not sure what you're trying to say there. Parker Get a Job and all of those Unfamerica crew are kind of blowing up. I guess not, because I'm unfamiliar with these names. The only up-and-coming YouTuber I'm paying attention to is me. My ass! A kid's YouTube/TV host is way different than a person who just texts kids because they reach out to them. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, totally. Kids shouldn't be messing with online figures directly without constant parental supervision, really at all. Honestly, like I think that there's a different. Like I think it's okay to let kids have like a little bit of time to absorb some of this content. I think that's fine. I think it's okay to let kids be exposed to different kinds of shit. But I do not believe that allowing young minds to get into this like mode of parasociality is a good thing for their brains. I just don't buy it. I'm going to risk unplugging my phone for a minute so I can charge my vape. My Bubblicious vape. I've been hitting my spare vape, but it's starting to taste a little weird and wonky, so Twitter is the worst. I mean, all social media right now is the worst. Like, that's the thing. Like, we were talking about, I guess we were, like, hinting at it and talking about it a little bit earlier, I think, but like the degradation of conversation that's happened on the internet is severe, dude. And social media has just capitalized on it so fucking much. And it's actually made the situation worse. So where before you might have had like 20 years ago, your options for social media were pretty fucking limited. You had MySpace, YouTube, I guess forums all over the internet, but forums was really like that was like a category of social media all on its own, because most people were not members of like millions of different forums. It was just like 2 or 3 that they had that they would visit. I'm trying really hard to think about like social media platforms that existed 20 fucking years ago. Like I said, MySpace, YouTube. Was AOL a social media platform? I don't remember. I really don't know. I really ain't got no more examples than that. That's sad. But yeah, if you look at the options you had for like interacting with people socially online 20 years ago, and you look at the options you have now, I mean, it's just fucking absurd. It's just fucking absurd the level of market dominance that social media has. I mean, they literally created themselves a little niche and then they expanded it and expanded it and expanded it. And now everybody on the planet, except for the Sentinelese Indians and a few fucking tribes in the Amazon, want a fucking smartphone and an internet connection. I mean, that is just fucking wild. It's just fucking wild. And social media has taken all of the worst, it's taken all the worst angels of our nature when it comes to technology and just amplified them, worsened them, sharpened them. I think growing up is adopting nihilism based. I know I choose to look at myself as like an optimistic nihilist. Like, yeah, life is inherently meaningless, but like that's why you just assign your own meaning to it. You know, that's why you decide what you place value in. Which, funnily enough, pretty much equates to what makes you happy. What makes you happy? What series of events make you happy? And I think that's what makes some people have difficulty in accepting just the idea of nihilism in and of itself, because they look at nihilism and they see like the end of the thing that they've used to justify their fucking morality their whole lives, even if it didn't make any sense really, right? A Christian looks at nihilism and thinks, how the fuck do I, how do I continue? If this is true, then how do I know what to do? But really, as soon as you start applying some thought to the matter, it's pretty easy to figure out. Well, you're not a savage, you're not a horrible person, so you're not just going to go around killing people, because that doesn't make you feel good. What does make you feel good? Seeing people who do kill people go to jail or whatever. Okay, so you'll probably help out with that, right? That kind of like social reinforcement is what our society's built on. But yeah, ultimately, accepting nihilism just means accepting the truth of the universe, that meaning is not inscribed anywhere on this planet, anywhere on this in this galaxy, anywhere in this universe. Seriously debating on doing a busking stream. What time is it? It's 1:21. Oof. That is rather fucking late. Totally agree. We make the best of this crazy world we can. Outside of life, there is no meaning. We make what we will out of what we have. Right. Right. You append whatever meaning you want to life. You append whatever significance you want to not just life, but to any of the objects and actors in your life. This is so important. Realizing that because it's the truth of the universe. It's not, it's one of those things, right? It might seem like an opinion, it might seem like a viewpoint, but really it is just the psychological objective truth of the universe. Morality doesn't exist etched in some fucking stone tablet somewhere. It's decided as a collective by the people who live in a society, and everybody in that society has their own particular ideas about how that morality ought to be best expressed. And democracy is just our attempt to reconcile all of those different opinions. But it's a psychological it's a psychological process to append more value to all of these things. The reason why every fucking Christian disagrees on the finer points of their morality when it comes to looking at the Beatitudes and examining their own life and shit like that. The reason for that, not just the fungibility of the Bible, that's one part of it, but also just the fuck, I forgot where I was going. Oh, it's not just the fungibility of the Bible, but it's also just like their ability to use the Bible as a way to pick out any morality that they want to have, right? But ultimately, them doing that is an exercise of their own moral code. So it's just like psychological truth, dude. You decide what is morally valuable to you. Not your pastor, not your lawyer, not your mother, not your father. You. And you make those decisions based off of a fucking agglomeration of all those people's input when you're a child. But the older you get, the less those people's fucking input matters. Like Carl Sagan said, we are star stuff. I think the Cosmos series gave me hope. I won't say the Cosmos series gave me hope, but I will say that I don't think we're facing an extinction level event. Not when it comes to human beings as a group or whatever. I don't think we're facing some kind of event where we're no longer going to have people and like all life is permanently altered. I really don't think that's what we're going to be going through. I really think it's going to be more of a, I don't know, kind of a slow collapse, if you will. Oh, shit. Sorry, y'all. I'm trying to figure out my fucking charger. Okay, there we go. AI is the most dangerous thing right now. What makes you say that? Because of how quick it's taking away jobs, or is there another reason? I think the societal shift most people aren't ready for. I mean, people aren't ready. Nothing's ready for it, but it's steamrolling its way ahead. I don't know. I really don't understand the position everybody's in when it comes to this shit, honestly. With, like, to be real with you, Jack, yeah, like, I guess people adapt. I don't really know how we're going to, though. Like, we've got a couple of signs that maybe the bourgeoisie are starting to consider a UBI. I mean, Andrew Yang was out pimping it a few years back. I was in the Yang gang until 2019 or 2020, whenever he dropped out of the race. I was Yang ganging it up until um, well, yeah, until he dropped out, right? And then I was like supporting Bernie Sanders, and then he dropped out. Anyway, I don't want to really litigate the whole fucking thing, but Andrew Yang was talking about it like 5 years ago. Obama was talking about it a couple years ago. So it's on the docket now. The idea of UBI is on the fucking, it's on the treadmill, but how long is it going to fucking take to lose enough weight to finally run the marathon to get over here? I don't fucking know. I don't pretend to know, dude. I don't know if it's going to be soon enough to save people from what's going to happen when almost every job is done by AI, because we are rapidly approaching that point. People don't realize how close we are to it. People just don't fucking realize, because they look around at their fucking shitty little small town or whatever their little shitty business is, and they think, how could this ever be done by AI? Or how could this ever be done by AI? Or how the fuck they gonna do this shit with AI? You know? Everybody in America is looking around thinking the same fucking thing, but they're not seeing the fucking march of this shit. They're not thinking about how fast how fucking far it's come. We've got cultural amnesia, folks. There's no other way to put it. America is going through cultural amnesia and has been under this spell for, in my opinion, about 10 years or so. I think it gets worse every year. I think the farther we get from 9/11, the farther we get from the year 2000, the farther we get from, I don't know, the news atmosphere of the 90s and 80s and 70s, at least from what I can understand watching those old newsreels and things. The farther we get from that era, the more fucked up things get in this particular area. In this area of cultural amnesia, I think that our culture's been suffering with it for a long time, and I think that many of the media companies we've already criticized tonight play a heavy fucking role in America's cultural amnesia, because I think they stand to gain a lot from our cultural amnesia. What do I mean when I say we've got cultural amnesia? I mean that people don't seem to fucking think about what happened 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. I think AI gets way too much hate. Like, I get hating AI artists and corporations using AI to make slop, but when someone uses one AI picture and now they're canceled, like, what the fuck? Perfect analogy, yeah. I think my worry is just bad actors. Years ago, deepfakes of Zelensky appeared with him surrendering. It was never found who did it, but what happens when it's harder to detect? Do you think America will leave capitalism and adopt more socialist ideologies? We can only do this for so long. People are going to want healthcare. I agree with you, Jack, when it comes to people are going to want healthcare, but I don't know how long are people going to hold on to capitalism? It's hard to fucking say. I'm of two minds about this. I'm of two minds, right? On the one hand, I have seen tremendous change happen in this country on the back of people insisting upon it. I have seen tremendous change happen. I've read about tremendous changes that have happened in this country because people insisted upon it. I've seen successful movements of voters that get their ideology passed through their legislature all over the world, in my lifetime. So on the one hand, right, on that hand, I kind of feel pretty optimistic, and I think, yeah, we're going to leave capitalism because people are going to want health care. They already do. Already, it's like 76% of Americans or something like that support universal health care. If you just ask them without any political leanings attached to it, you just ask them like about issue to issue basis, and you go through the positions that make up universal health care, you get like most people want it. Most people are cool with funding healthcare with taxpayer funds. Most people are cool with that. The vast majority are cool with that. So people already want healthcare. The real question is, when do people start getting angry? When do people start marching peacefully to settle and squat in these public areas and in these courthouses, things like that, in these major city centers until our demands are met? When does that happen? I don't know. And you see, this is where the other side of my brain comes in, because one of the people that I kind of look up to is like I don't know, like the progenitor of this kind of content that I do. Not the only one, obviously, but one of the people that kind of like pioneered just like sitting and talking to your chat as content. He's got this analogy he makes sometimes where Paul will say, America's not going to change and rise up until there are bread lines. Bread lines, of course, referencing the actual lines for bread that existed outside of the bakeries that were distributing what little bread that they had during the Great Depression. It was oftentimes the only form of calories some people could get living in the city. God, man, I wish I could disagree with them. I really wish I could say, nah, Paul, you're wrong about that. It's not going to take bread lines. That's silly. That's silly. It's right around the corner. But every time I've thought it was right around the corner in my life, I've been wrong. I've been wrong, That's just the fucking sad fact of it. I thought it was right around the corner in 2020. It wasn't. Hell, I thought it was right around the corner in summer of 2022. There were quite a bit of fucking people that were angry about the Ukraine war and all this other shit. And it seemed like leftist energy was kind of gaining some momentum at that time. Nope. 2023 was supposed to be the year of the strike. Instead, it ended up being the year of the tragedy. Is that Nick or is it Weed? Nick Weed. And Crass fooled British intelligence agencies with a deep-faked conversation between Margaret Thatcher and I think Reagan by splicing cassette and VHS tape footage. That is dope. Yeah, so this technology, this idea, this desire goes back way farther than people would have you give it credit for. And it's true that it's only going to get worse, but when people ask me, like, what are we going to do? Like I said, I'm of two minds. On the one hand, I would love to tell you we're going to fucking rise up, by God. We're going to sit in the square. We're going to sit in the public spaces, the sidewalk, the courthouses, all the public places of Washington, D.C. and Wall Street. In as many numbers as we can get out there, we're going to stay out there for as long as it takes to get our demands met. We're going to come there with like 5 demands that address the fucking actual needs of all Americans with just across the board. And we're going to stay there as long as it takes to get our demands met. If that takes 7 months, we stay there for 7 months. If that takes 3 years, we stay there for fucking 3 years. And we just continuously have people quitting their jobs to go do a year of service on the line or whatever. I don't know how it would end up shaping up, how we would keep people out there, but I think a movement like that would change America. Not could, would. I don't think it would take years, just so you know. I don't think it would take months. I think it would take about a week. I think that the politicians of Washington, D.C. and the rich moneyed interests of Wall Street would tolerate our rainbow hippie asses for about a week before they start really coming to the table with a bunch of fucking negotiating power, willing to sponsor whatever legislation we need to get us the fuck back up into our fucking little small towns and working in our shitty little jobs again. Because their companies are all losing money now, and they're all having to wade through hippies to get to their nice restaurants. They're all having to listen to songs about how they're all pieces of shit. They're all having to listen to fucking protest music about how they're all pieces of shit, how the people are great, how the people know better, how the politicians are retarded. That's the fucking... There's your strategy. I've been wrong so many times in my life. Don't feel bad. I've learned my lesson. Well, yeah, no, I mean, that's what I'm saying, Jack. I'm just trying to be, like, intellectually honest and admit, I'm not some fucking foreign policy expert. I'm not some domestic policy expert. I am a fat chick on YouTube talks politics for her living, Like, that's what I do. Don't come to me for lofty and weighty political takes, Like, I'm retarded. I've got the IQ of an unladen sponge, okay? I'm functionally a moron. I'm just able to trick you fuckers because I can talk. That's it. That's all I got going for me. No, your base is fucked. I'm kind of being self-deprecating on purpose, but I do appreciate it. I keep talking about this, but I feel like such an idiot skateboarding alone for the first time. Now my ankle's sprained. Oh, orangutan. This is why I never fucked with the skateboard, and at this point in my life, my joints are all way too fucked, and I can't even do it. It really saddens me. It's one of the things that I want to try once I lose enough weight, because, like, I think that if I could get into it, I think I could actually enjoy skateboarding, and I think maybe if I lost enough weight, I could actually strengthen my ankles and shit using that. But, dude, it sucks to be born in a body that's betraying you in more ways than one. Like, not only am I trans, you know? So I've got to deal with that hurdle with my body, but I've also got to deal with the hurdle of just having a body that's just not, like, even if I was a cis man, I think I would still hate my body, at least aspects of it, you know? Not that I hate my body in totality, I'm just saying, you know? There are things about this flesh suit that I have to wield in the world that I really just detest. One of them is the fact that I just cannot seem to stay away from joint pain. Like right now, my arm is still kind of recovering from just, I don't even know what happened. I don't know if I fell on it and didn't think about it. I don't think I fell though anywhere. I don't know if I strained it in some weird way. I wasn't thinking about it. I don't know what the fuck happened. I just woke up. Like I was streaming one night and it kind of hurt a little bit when I started. The longer it went, the more it hurt, and it kept feeling like it was falling out of the joint or some shit. I really couldn't tell. I don't know what the fuck happened, but it's still recovering from that. It feels better today than it has in, you know, the last 5 or 6 days, but still, you know, before that, I was having like a massive problem walking on my right foot. I was just like basically incapable of putting any weight on it. And then as the pain started to leave my shoulder, I started to get like severe pain in my left foot. And what seemed like another cellulitis infection, because I'm super prone to those for whatever fucking reason. So I'm just like, I don't know, I'm a sickly person. I hope I'm healthy enough by the time of the meetup to actually have a good time. I'm coming no matter what, but I hope I don't have to like get a wheelchair or something. Because if I do, I will. I'm not gonna like not enjoy the meetup because I can't hardly walk. Just sucks, dude. I'm fucking 27 years old. I shouldn't need a wheelchair. And people want to blame it all on my weight too. Like, whatever. I really don't care that people find it degrading to call me fat, you know? That's fine. I get it. It's an insult. I don't care that I'm fat personally, because I look at so many other fat people and they don't have the problems I have, you know? They're not like constantly struggling just to walk. And I'm nowhere near the level of fat for who do. Like, yeah, it's normal for a 600-pound motherfucker to have problems walking around, have severe joint pain in their lower extremities and shit like that. That's fucking pretty normal for somebody that's like 85% blubber. Yeah, but I'm not that, right? Right? I'm not that. Like, I'm a pretty functional level of obese for a fat person, and I see plenty of other people that weigh more than me that seem to amble around better than I do, which tells me that it's probably some kind of weird fucking genetic condition or some lack of care for my feet and my youth or some shit like that. But dude, it's taking my freedom from me, if I'm being honest with you guys, and I hate it. I used to walk all the time. I haven't taken a long walk in 2 months. That got dark quick, sorry. What's the meetup? The Deep Fat Fried meetup. Pessimist Productions, The Amazing Atheist, Paul Zigo, and Scotty Kirk. Yeah, that's rough. I'd say get a very low gear bike. It's much easier on the joints. That's what I want to do. Black Lark, honestly, is just get me a bike and try my best to start losing weight as fast as I can. I drank mostly nothing but water today, and that's what I'm really trying to stay hardcore on that. I will have one sweetened drink a day from here on out. Because I don't know what else to do, you know? Like, I don't think it's ultimately connected to my fat, but I do think my fat exacerbates it, right? I don't think that it's going to go away because I'm not fat anymore. But I do think if I can lose like 100 pounds worth of my weight, like if I can get down to like 200 or 210 or 220, I will consider that light, enough weight loss to where at least I've taken like, at that point I would have taken like 120 pounds off of my joints effectively over the course of my weight loss journey. Which, like I said, I'm not ashamed of being fat. I see nothing wrong with being fat just as a body type. I don't think you should shame people for being fat. But I do think, like any rational, logical person, that there are ways that it can affect your health. And when it comes to my particular case, I think that it has exacerbated my problems with my ankles and knees. And like I said, sadly, in a way that I don't see a whole lot of like here's the thing that fucks me up, right? How the fuck does Boogie move better than I do? Boogie supposedly rolls his ankle on the way out of the fucking arcade in the documentary he's in. But as he's ambling his way back out, he walks better than I'm going to amble my way back in when I go in a minute. Motherfucker's 203, I don't know, I don't even know how much better that motherfucker is in that documentary than I am. Motherfucker probably weighs 200 pounds more than I do. Whatever, I'm just a fucking inbred piece of Mississippi shit. It is what it is. Swimming is probably the best cardio ever, and yeah, the low impact makes training around injuries amazing. Dude, oh my god, yet another thing I want to do, but I don't have money to do it. Keep subscribing to my channel, keep helping my channel grow. I want to have enough money to do fucking amazing things. Not just for myself, but for my family as well, honestly. Like, a pool is something everybody in my household has been dreaming of this whole summer. Dude, I cannot wait until the day when the housing market finally fucking collapses. And because I really think that that's going to be me and my family's big break. Because the fucking sad thing is, if it weren't for all the massive inflation and shit like that, if it weren't for the massive fucking upticks in grocery prices and the absolute lack of relief on that front, if it weren't for all of that shit, dude, my family's income between me and everybody else that makes an income in my household, we should have no problem paying the bills. Not that we really do, it's just like we should have no problem paying the bills and saving is what I'm trying to say, Yes, I mean that, Boogie. Yes. The planetoid pistolero himself, Boogie 2988. That's, yes, same Boogie. Mm-hmm. How does that fat fuck amble around the world better than I move? That's what I'm asking. That's what I'm saying when I say I genuinely do not believe that my joint problems are actually tied. Like, I don't think it's a direct connection to my fat. I don't think I have joint problems because I'm fat. I think that part of the reason I'm fat is because my joint problems have always kind of made it hard for me to keep up with a consistent exercise routine. Like, since I was I would say 15 or 16, I've probably been dealing with this shit. And, as time has gone on, the problem has just gotten, it's like a vicious cycle now, where if I don't get, very active and considerate about the things that I eat, when I eat, how I eat, what I drink, the kinds of exercise I do, and, getting serious about, a regular exercise regime and everything, or routine, sorry, regime, that's what I get for always thinking about politics. Anyway, I just feel like if I don't do that at this point, it's just going to stay in this vicious cycle where I'm just going to keep gaining weight because I fucking have these joint problems that aren't going away, Like, they go away for a time, and a lot of times when they go away for a few months, that's when I'll do a bunch of, like, that's when I'll end up losing like 20 pounds, you know? But it's hard to sustain that kind of thing when one day you wake up and you're like, oh shit, yep. You thought you just kind of stepped hard on your foot the other day? Nope, you actually fucking pinched a nerve or some shit. And now your fucking foot's red as fuck and swollen. It hurts like a motherfucker. I hate it. Hate it. Oh, it's garbage. Oh my god. I would trade my legs in for new legs in a fucking split second if you put me in the cyberpunk universe. Oh, I'd do it in a heartbeat. A Romanian dude I worked with went through the communist to capitalist changes in Romania. He would tell me about the rent only costing 20 lei of the roughly 2,000 he made a month. Oh shit. I'm not a communist, but our housing being market-based is fucking up American society. Oh yeah, we are totally gay, Jack. I don't know where you got that idea. Yeah. I'm not a communist, but our housing being market-based is fucked up American society. I make this fucking argument all the time, Black Clark. I'm sure you're probably bringing it up because I do. Yeah, the fact of it is that when you have the profit motive involved with something, that puts all these corrupt incentives before human beings. And as long as that's the case, you cannot have a functional fucking system within that framework that deals with any human need effectively. You can't have a system that deals with a human need effectively if profits matter more than meeting that human need. That's why housing doesn't function in America. That's why public transit doesn't function in America. That's why utilities are so fucking expensive and don't really function that well in America. That's why your fucking cell phone company sucks. That's why your internet company sucks. The truth of it is, we need to get away from the profit motive when it comes to a bunch of shit. I make the argument that all human need needs to be removed from the profit motive entirely. All human need. I'm okay with a market for luxuries, for little creature comforts and things like that, but I think that when we establish something as a basic human need, that needs to be respected and taxpayer funded so that everybody has access to it. Because you don't have a functional society unless you don't have a functional, truly democratic society unless everybody has access to the same basic starting point. And if you don't want to help me achieve that, then I consider you an enemy of democracy. I consider you an enemy of direct organization by people. Yeah, because prisons are a business. Yeah, yeah. Why do we have so many fucking? What's the? I'm trying to remember the line from Changes. The penitentiary's packed and it's full of blacks. You know, I can't think of the rest of the line there, but what Tupac was talking about there is the fact that America never really ended slavery. We just exported it to our prisons, and now we imprison like I think it's like 1/5 of black males have been to prison at some point in their lives, or like 1/4 or something like that. It's some ridiculous fucking statistic because they're so massively over policed and so massively over convicted. You are way more likely to go to prison for this, that, or the other offense if you're black than you are if you are white. It's just the fucking bias in the system. Just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's just like one of those things you cannot explain in any other way than America's got to have a little bit of a racist streak running through it, huh? Unless you really believe that it's nothing but black guys smoking up all the weed. Yeah, they're literally making houseless people prison slaves. It's grotesque, but not new. They did this to my ancestors after slavery. Yep. I don't recognize my own country. Yeah, exactly. If you don't work for the system, then we'll make you a part of it. Yeah. And God forbid if you actually work against the system. Erkran and Jensen were activists. It's loaded with theory. Their hearts are filled with passion, shared the same left-wing politics. Like the same music, they were part of the protest movement. Well, Anna fancied herself a feminist. Studied the way they talked and dressed, fancied herself an anarchist. Eric fell in love with Anna, had a meeting on the crime thing conference, didn't know it, but Anna was an FBI informant. Eric fell in love with an FBI informant, shared his dreams of revolution. Now he's staring at solitary confinement. Be careful what you think, be careful what you say, might be used against you in court one day. Well, let her think she's a hawk, she's just a fucking snitch. Dun, 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 dun. Farmers are not complaining because their crops are going unpicked because their mighty immigrant workers aren't showing up. These people voted for this. I know, Jack, dude. And it was the most hilarious fucking shit ever, dude. Oh my god, I fucking love it. Oh my god, I laugh so hardcore at this shit because I literally told people about this. When Trump won the election, I was trolling maggots afterwards, telling them, I hope you guys are ready to pay fucking $4 a tomato next season. I hope you guys are ready to pay fucking $5 a pound for maters next season because you guys are not ready. You guys are not ready for the market stress this is about to cause. That's leaving aside all the arguments about their fucking right as human beings to live where they want. That's leaving aside all my anarchist shit about no borders, no prisons. That's leaving aside all my humanitarian arguments about the treatment of these people in the detention centers and the mass deportations. Leaving all that shit aside. I think the cat's caught a little bug. Anyway. I just hope they keep it caught. I don't think you're really a farmer if you're not picking or planting your own crops. Oh, dude, orangutan. I have to admit it. Like, I have to say, you have a very outdated idea of what a farmer is, my friend. You have a very outdated idea of what a farmer is. There are very few, there are a few, but there are very few types of agriculture in the modern day that you can do that don't involve some level. I'm actually going to close that door so that that thing doesn't fly in here, whatever the fuck it was. Sounds like it might be a cicada, maybe. Okay, kitty, all cute, not scary. Yeah. You guys were terrified for me too, dude. I was fucking looking around like, what the fuck? Wish them cats would hurry up and kill whatever bug it is they're fucking with. Damn, cats are murderous. I forget about that sometimes. I mean, I don't think you have to do 100% of the work, but at least do some. I mean, I get what you're saying, but farming is just one of those professions where, like, I would say there are like two kinds of farmers, right? There are I'm gonna let that thing fucking buzz on its own for a while because I can't stand that noise. Anyway, cats are just tiny tigers that we let live in our homes. Yeah, dude, literally. Dude, did you know that cheetahs used to be pretty commonly kept as domestic pets? And in some places, kind of arguably still are? They're not truly a big cat, number one. But number two, they're like the biggest cat that I personally think you can justify having, like, as a pet. Because they don't seem to view humans as, like, prey items, number one. They have, like, a super long-standing relationship with us that, from my understanding, goes back almost as far as our general relationship with cats, like, as a whole. We took to cheetahs apparently pretty fucking quickly. Cheetahs are kind of chill. They don't want to fight. They will run away. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Cheetahs are like, people have this idea of a cheetah as like some strength machine because they think of big cats as strength machines. They don't realize a cheetah's not a big cat, right? Completely different hunting style than something like a lion or something like a tiger or something like that. The cheetah's hunting style is an ambush predator. So the cheetah, like a house cat or something like that, creeps up on a stray out of a herd or something like that, a loner out of a pack or something, and then at the right moment springs the trap and outruns them in a short distance sprint, right? I mean, often the documentary makes it seem like it's running for a mile, but it's not. It's running like 800 feet to catch this thing. You know, it gets a little bit of a running start, and then the cheetah fucking clobbers it, right? Now, what the cheetah does excel at is it does have pretty sharp claws, and it has really sharp teeth, right? And it's got pretty decent bite force. But it is not like a giant, unconquerable cat the way a lion or a tiger is. If a lion decides to fuck your ass up, you've got no chance against the lion. You're dead. If a cheetah decides to try and fuck your ass up, there's actually a good chance you win against the cheetah. Because you're just as predatory as the cheetah is. You know? Like, the cheetah's very much used to attacking things that have a different set of instincts. If you fight a cheetah, the cheetah's going to figure out pretty quickly, you know where its eyes are at, you know, like, how a cat's body works or some shit. It's going to figure it out. Like, and, you know, like, once it figures out that it can't open its jaw, you know, I imagine it probably gets docile pretty quickly. None of this is advocacy to go out and get a cheetah, by the way. Don't get a cheetah. Cheetahs are wild animals. Let them remain wild. Unless you have enough land for it, then I guess go get a cheetah. But learn how to take care of them first, okay? Okay, opinion. People are spending all day talking to Chat GPT and dumping a lot of personal info, not realizing if requested, their data isn't private and can be used in court against them. Oh, Jack, they don't realize that that's true of all internet platforms, though. And that's, I think, why people are doing it. Because I think that there are a lot of people who actually do realize that privacy and security and things like that, these are anachronisms. These don't exist anymore. Your information is cataloged. Somebody knows it. Somebody knows who you are, what you do, where you go online, you spend your time, what you like to spend your time doing online, all that shit, right? It's all cataloged, it's all understood, it's all known. And any of it can be requested by the correct government authority with the right amount of clearance and the right amount of fucking pull. That's one of the things Snowden revealed, It's one of the things that got leaked. Is just like the government has contracts with all of these VPN providers, all of these internet service providers, all of these social media websites. All of their shit has to be cataloged for a certain amount of time, and it all has to be accessible. In fact, I don't know. I don't remember. I feel like it said that it's like for a certain amount of time, but it may be forever that this shit gets fucking cataloged. Even if I'm remembering it correctly, it may actually be forever. Who's to fucking say, Probably is forever. Lions are super affectionate when they aren't hungry. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, lions they're instinct driven, but ultimately if they can manage to see you as part of as like a part of the pack, or like an adjacent kind of associate of the pack, they won't eat you first, usually. But that's why an old lion tamer has a well-fed lion. How deep does it go, the data collection, I mean? You assume it has a limit. No. It doesn't. I mean, it depends on how much do you want to, like, how far do you want it to go? I mean, it's one of these things where I could tell you that that's as deep as it goes. There's just the shit you put online. But the truth of the fucking modern electronics infrastructure environment, whatever you want to call it, is that if you're on an Android device, a shit ton of the shit that you do on your phone, just as a function of having a phone, is logged online, because a lot of it's based on the cloud. Your Google Calendar is something that exists on your Google account, not just on your phone, but on your Google account itself. So even the contents of your calendar, if you use Google Calendar, are accessible anywhere you can log into Google. Now, yes, you have to be the one to log into it and all that shit, right, in theory, but that's just one example of a thing. People probably wouldn't think anything of it. There are probably so many old people who don't think that anyone could possibly ever know besides them what's going on Tuesday the 1st or whatever. When in reality, if that becomes relevant in a criminal suit or something, that'll be pursued. That'll be fucking subpoenaed. That information will come out and it'll become public record. If you don't know, AI reuses data. They probably also don't know everything that enters the internet never disappears. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%. Beer is temporary, but the internet, that, my friend, that is forever. That's why my preferred drug of choice has always been vodka. Because you see, that is why I prefer vodka. Because you see, once I am done with the bottle, I throw it away, or I put it in the recycling, and I never see that bottle again. It never comes back to haunt me, or it might come back to haunt me the next day. But it never comes back to haunt me. Not 2 weeks from now, not 3 weeks from now, no 6 months from now, no 2 years from now. No, the vodka leaves me where I leave it. I pissed orangutan off with my hackneyed Russian accent. Predictable, really. I'm still kind of giggling over trolling fucking what's his fucking faggot ass fake name earlier. So sensitive. So sensitive. But yeah, the rabbit hole goes pretty fucking deep. What we know is that internet shit is all logged. So if you're interacting with the internet in any way, that's logged. What we don't know is how much of the shit you do on your phone just as you go about your daily business is also being logged. Because, like, even Android, which is, like, if you, like, it's open source. Android is supposed to be open source. So, ostensibly, you should be able to go through the code and prove that this, that, or the other app isn't interacting with the internet. But who the fuck knows? What if there's some hidden chip? What if there's some hidden chip that is not invoked in the code anywhere in the code, but there's some hardware solution that they've invented that allows the chip to insert its code at just this right fucking perfect point, and that's what creates the spy tech or whatever, dude. I don't know, but this is how my paranoid ass brain thinks when I think about how much you can do, right? Just like having basic fucking access to other computers. Like having control to the computer that powers the server that all of your computers are networked to is like being God for a network. You know? You extrapolate God's powers up the chain, and you realize whoever controls the big server that's controlling all the internet traffic, that's making sure everything gets where it's going and is all logged at the same time, that person knows everything, sees everything, and hears everything. The data god. Yeah, dude. The data god. Besides streaming, do you make content elsewhere? No. I probably should, but I don't. I'm kind of a moron when it comes to technology in the modern day, I'll be honest. I never took to cell phones the way a lot of other people did. I was not raised with one. I didn't have one until I was like 17 or 18. And I'll be 27 this year. That's not that long with a smartphone compared to most people who are turning 27 this year. So I don't really know how to make a TikTok. You know, I like the platform actively turns me off. The platform actively discourages me from using it. I fucking hate the platform. I don't like the format. I don't like anything about it. You know, I want to make content on there so that I get popular on there so that I can get more popular on here because I like popularity, you know. I think it's fun to make content. I think I'd like to be able to do more of it, and to do more of it, I'm going to need to be able to put more money towards the channel, right? But at the same time, God, I hate that fucking format so much, man. God damn. I don't know what kind of fucking videos to make for TikTok either, because I ain't a TikTok head. I know there's political content over there. I know there's fucking like people talking about the shit I talk about, but I don't know. Maybe clipping up some of these streams and uploading them to TikTok would work. I mean, these are vertical streams after all. I feel like Bo Burnham was warning us almost specifically about TikTok. Oh yeah, probably. If you were to do TikTok, Phoebe, I'd put up sections of your busking or short hot takes. Ooh, okay, neat. Short hot takes, neat. Okay, short hot takes or clips of my busking. Yeah, that could be a thing. That could be a thing. One thing I want to talk to Glitch Dash about, and I don't know, maybe this will work out, maybe it won't, maybe this will turn out to be a horrible idea, but I haven't done street busking in forever, dude, and part of me wants to try it, depending on what cities we stop in and everything, because I ain't trying to go busk in some downtown area where I'm going to get robbed just standing there, but dude, before the meetup, I should get a lav mic so that I can do that. I should get a lav mic and actually make some good fucking videos of me playing and singing. The real question is, could I get a lav mic and an instrument mic combined so that I can combine the sound of my guitar and the sound of my voice? You could do shorts of how toxic your chat is. That's definitely true. I could do outtakes from the first hour of the stream for sure. Are you streaming tomorrow? I don't really get updates and don't know your stream schedule. Yeah, I pretty much stream every night. I'm going to try and start streaming earlier. So, yeah, look for me around 10 p.m. CST. Yeah, chat's been chill tonight for the most part, but that's after we got age gated. You have to keep that in mind. Oh. Ever thought about call-ins, debating your chat on politics or something you have interest in? Yeah, I've actually done several call-ins. Yeah, I did one the other day. I titled it "A Meeting of the Minds," me versus somebody from the chat. I've done a couple with this dude named Omar Peoples. I hosted a blood sports argument between Alchemist Soil and Paul Zigo on my channel. I guess that wasn't a call-in thing, but that was still a guest spot on this channel, so that was cool. Yeah, I mean, we are more than fucking willing to do collaborations and call-ins and that kind of thing. It's really like the process has been waiting on me to get like my shit in order. That's really been the main problem, is just that, There's some upgrades to the fucking shooting area that need to happen. I do production design. If you weren't halfway across the country, I'd love to build a dope-ass streaming space for you. Oh my god, Riley. Don't tease me. Oh. Don't tease me. I forget what part of the country Riley is in. But yeah, dude, I want a dope streaming space so bad. I'm thinking about this fucking space I'm in right now. It needs work. The ceiling on it, I mean, it's just a shitty old office trailer, so the ceiling needs like tar papered over and shit, and there's insulation that needs replaced and put in all along the ceiling. The windows need replaced with double pane windows. There's some improvements that need to be made in here, but I think that for like $5,000 or less, I could turn this into a dope fucking streaming spot, complete with a window unit and everything. In fact, I already know where I'd stick the window unit. I don't think I'd want to sully your show with my cold takes, but I'd love to talk with you in a Discord sometime. BB, do you hang in any? Yes, Black Lark. You can find me hanging in Salt Rackus occasionally. Paul's Discord server. I hang in there sometimes. I also occasionally hang out in TJ's Discord, but honestly, like that, like the VCs in TJ's Discord tend to be dead. Just gonna say it, they tend to be dead. I'm more than down to like voice chat with people over there, but that just doesn't tend to be where the people who want a VC congregate, at least not in the DFF community. Seems like they mostly congregate in Paul's Discord because it's more like VC focused, which is fine. Not making any judgments, just saying. You know? I'm in Salt Lake City. Right. Okay, yeah. Mormon land. I forgot. Dude, Riley, I don't know if you were here when I was talking about this, but I have a little fan theory about Mormons. Since I don't have and here's my fan theory about Mormons, I think, is literally just based on the only experiences with Mormons that I've effectively had, right? So I want you to tell me if I'm wrong or right. I feel like Mormon missionaries are the coolest missionaries. And here's why. Because Mormon missionaries, if they like walk up on you and you're like painting your house or something, they'll be like, do you mind if we help you paint your house while we talk about the Lord? And it's like, oh my God, please. Yeah, I'll talk about the Lord all day long if you'll help me paint this house. You know? You'll be washing the car. They'll be like, why don't you take a break and get you something cold to drink while we talk about the Lord and finish this car up for you? You know? It's like, here's $20. I mean, I love what you're doing out here, providing music for the people and everything, just trying to keep yourself fed. That's honorable. Do you mind if I talk to you a little bit about the Lord? And it's like, no, that's a real 20. I like that. And I like you. Let's talk. What do you want to talk about the Lord? Cool. I'll keep an eye on Salt Rackets. Cool. Yeah. That's where to find me usually. If I'm going to be in a VC, it's usually going to be over there. I would hang out in this Thunderdome I hear fucking Paul talk about all the time, but I never fucking see an invite link to it, so. Well, whatever. It just sounds like a fun place, you know? That's because those boys are so fucking bored, and actually helping people through physical service and labor makes them feel better than preaching the lies of a 14-year-old liar who wanted bitches. Oh shit. Okay, well, you know. All right, based. You know what? Based. Okay, cool. Yeah, that would make me feel better too. You know, rather than just like idly preaching, let me fucking at least do something useful while I'm filling your head with stupid lies. You know? It's atonement and good acts all at once. It's atonement, good acts, and proselytization all at once. I hear that Mormons give Salt Lake City and Utah in general kind of a snitch culture, but I don't know, never been there. Also, here the Rocky Desert can be beautiful. Oh, dude. I will tell you, all of the deserts of the Southwest that I ever got to see were fucking so beautiful. The deserts and mesas of southwestern Colorado. If you've never seen Mesa Verde in person, it's so fucking insane to see those. That it's not just one either, right? People think Mesa Verde is just like one little cliff, one little plateau, one little mesa. Nope. Nope. It's like a whole chain of mesas. Most Mormons don't understand the history of their own church. Not surprisingly. Like, if you do understand the history of the Mormon church, you understand it to be a fucking religion that's just batshit insane. Sniffing its own farts fucking everywhere around. It's a batshit religion. Batshit religion. All the preachings are based on these 2 tablets that just get mysteriously fucking taken away by the angel at some point. Christianity versus Islam, who destroys the world first? Christianity. Islam doesn't have nearly enough nukes under its belt. Christian countries have way more fucking nukes than Muslim countries do. Israel makes a pretty good job of that, you know? Yeah, if you think about Christianity's effects when it comes to colonialism and shit like that, you might come to the conclusion that America already, or not America, Freudian slip, but you might come to the conclusion that Christianity has already destroyed the world, and that we are just living through the world's death throes right now. Living through its last sad gasps of life as it trickles away into something else. Not resembling that. I think the Ethiopian Christians can be pretty cool, but they didn't take over the world. Exactly. AI is predisposed to be as biased as its creators and where it gets its data from. Yeah, imagine a super AGI plus religious bias. Oh, dude. Oh, man. Oh, shit. Do I have to? Welcome to Theocracy AI. Here in Jesus Land, the country that used to be known as America, we believe only in one thing, and that is that our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ of Nazareth, died on the cross for our sin, and it is only through worshiping Him and His edicts and those He empowers in His church that we may achieve salvation. You guys want to know the sad truth about all these AI government ideas? They're all predicated on the idea that any fucking sitting government would choose to replace itself with a benevolent AI. The only AI that these people are replacing themselves with is one that just justifies all of their bad decisions. One that keeps them in power. They would never set up a system that removes them from that power. That the system's going to have to be forcibly taken from these folks and transitioned into something that takes into account the vast preponderance of human knowledge. The Mormon Church has hundreds of billions of dollars pocketed away. They still ask members to donate 10% earns to them. You can't afford to pay your tithing. You can't afford not to pay your tithing. Exactly. Yeah, and like Mormons are really fucking harsh about the tithing thing. They're real sticklers about it in a way a lot of other church groups of the modern day aren't. And that's despite the fact that the Mormon Church basically has endless amounts of money at this point. Now, if you ask them about this, I'm sure the justification is, well, the Mormons were persecuted throughout so much of our history, and we have to save. We have to make sure that we have enough so that if we get persecuted again, we can up and leave again. I'm sure that's the justification, right? And so that's their justification behind saving 7 years worth of food or some shit. It's like you always have to be ready to move. You always have to be ready to fucking live off of nothing. Because we're a vagabond bunch of losers that get kicked out of every state that we piss off. Religious tithings are so insane as a social thing to me. Like, what the fuck is the church actually doing for me and the rest of society? I mean, to be 100% fair to the churches, Blacklark, sometimes a church will do things for the community, but it's become so rare that I, in general, just agree with you, Blacklark. I'm always confused as to, like, I want, like, a quick little, but anyway. I tend to agree with you. I do think that there are some churches that use their tithes for good things, but it's way too few. I mean, the Catholic Church has enough money to effectively end world hunger. They don't want to do it because too many fucking countries. They rely on too many of these countries relying on them for food and water in trade for fucking proselytizing and missionary work and shit. So the Catholics could end world hunger, but if you don't have world hunger, then what's going to make you let the Catholics in to feed your people? Have you always dealt with criticism well, or just hate? You hold yourself well. Who, me? Oh, me? Yeah, dude. I don't know. I've not always I've probably not always handled myself well with criticism, like, especially when I was a kid, when I was younger, teenager, those kind of years. The older I got and the more jobs I did, the better equipped I got to deal with that kind of thing. I also had a series of incredibly difficult friends that led me to have a very thick skin as well throughout my, the end of high school, and I would say the years, between of high school and, 25. I had a number of friends that I feel like very much sharpened my wit, excuse me, and simultaneously dulled my ability to be wounded by any of the things that they say. They left me pretty OP, if I'm being honest. Yeah, agreed. Some black churches are okay, but overall corruption in the church is totally a big thing. Yeah, I totally agree. White churches, too. I can't speak on black churches. I'm not 100% familiar with the inner processes of a black church, of course, but I will speak for the white church-going community. It's a major fucking thing, right? The donation plate is passed around, but what charity work is the fucking church going into? What are they doing? What are they actually doing with this money? That's the thing. I want a full accounting. That's what I want. I want a full accounting. I want a full fucking accounting. And I want the IRS to force churches that aren't using, you should have to use 90%. You should have to use I don't know, like 100% of everything that isn't spent on your operating budget on charity shit. You should have to spend 100% of everything that doesn't come out of your operating budget in terms of your revenue. You should have to spend that on fucking charity shit if you're a church, because that's the whole idea behind you being tax exempt. You don't need to contribute your income to the broader society because you are yourself an institution of helping the society. That's the whole fucking premise behind paying your fucking like the whole premise behind paying your taxes as a normal taxpayer is to distribute the workload for maintaining society across a wide variety of people and organizing that structure and everything. And the reason why you don't pay taxes if you're a church is because you are expected to be a part of the infrastructure that helps hold everything together. And taxing you would be an extra thing on top of what you're already doing, which should be functionally helping society. The product you should be creating should be faith in God and soup, or faith in God and lots of school supplies for kids as they return to school. There's so many different charity programs that churches can do. I've been to them. I know they happen sometimes, but it's not nearly enough. And there are too many mega churches. And I want a full accounting. And I can't be the only American that feels this way. I want a full fucking accounting. I want to know just how much Joel Osteen is bilking out of his people, and just how little of it actually gets spent on helping people. I want to know. I remember when the Catholic Church told Africa that AIDS was bad as a disease, but not quite as bad as condoms, or not as immoral in the same way. Also, Mother Teresa overrated. What do you think about the Department of Education being dismantled? Well, you gave me quite a lot to respond there. Number one, yeah, Mother Teresa is overrated. She idolized suffering. She was a pretty nightmarish woman. Not based, not some healer of the sick and wounded. She was a monster. Not a good person. Anyway. So, and by the way, the reason why she insisted upon this kind of thing was as, like, she thought suffering was divine, that suffering brought you closer to God, and that she could demonstrate this in her opposition to assisted suicide, basically. So, fuck her. But yeah. Yeah, the Catholic Church lied to Africa about the severity of AIDS compared to any of the fucking various different ways of preventing it. Why did the Catholic Church do this? Was it their religious beliefs, or was the Catholic Church being paid off by some shadowy fucking government force to, like, get some kind of, like, population-destroying virus flowing throughout that population? Who the fuck knows? Who the fuck will ever know? Catholic Church is a black box. That's one thing the good Pope did not manage to fix. He increased transparency within the church, but he did not make it a glass house. And it ought to be a glass house. I don't think there's anyone in there that needs to be throwing a stone. Being, after all, not what Jesus called for. But as far as what do I think of the Department of Education being dismantled, I mean, it's not an entire surprise, right? If you know anything about the advance of Trumpism and shit like that, if you know anything about Republican strategy over the last fucking 20 years, Republicans have been wanting since the Bush years, and probably before, probably since the 80s. But I remember first asking my parents about it back in the Bush years, when I would have been like 8, 9, 10, something like that. Just starting to ask my parents questions about the deeper things in the world, you know? And I remember asking them about, like, what's all this thing about charter schools and private schools? And, like, am I going to still go to the same school and everything? And they're like, well, yeah, you will. I mean, this is just stuff that they're implementing in different states. And they kind of explained to me. And having looked back on it now, I know what was going on, right, back then, is that there was this big Republican push. The way Bush framed it was that we need to fund schools better that do better on tests, because clearly they're the ones that are doing the most with the money. And the ones that are getting bad tests, well, they're not getting anything with the amount of money they are getting. So less than the amount of money that they're getting, and that'll show them that they really need to do better on those tests. And then eventually they'll do better. They'll earn more money. It'll be fucking great, right? That was the Bush framing of it. And the alternative was, well, if you don't like this. Basically, the implicit threat was like, if you don't like this system, vote in charter schools in your state today. And slowly but surely, that sort of thing became more normalized. It had been normalized in Texas for a while, and now it's being tried in more and more places. And now you can basically homeschool your kid instead of sending them to actual school for the vast majority of their school career, if not the entire thing. Which is just absurd to me. Like, it's one thing to be able to do that if you're a fucking teacher, or if you can like regularly maintain contact with a teacher or something like that. It's another thing to just like sit around and let your kid watch the educational videos and hope that they're getting something out of it. And that's just tragic to me. But yeah, there's been this big push by Republicans for over 20 years to dismantle the Department of Education. They've framed it in different ways. They haven't ever come out this hard against the department in and of itself, but it's not surprising that this is a step that they would take. Like the Trump administration is not above sacrificing time-honored American institutions on the altar of his ego, and this is just another one of those. It's just another thing that Americans have gotten used to, that Americans had come to know, that is no longer going to be in a really important place of governance at all, because Trump simply decided he doesn't like it. He doesn't like it. He doesn't like the fact that if you teach history accurately, it doesn't paint a very glowing picture of America. He doesn't like the fact that if you talk about biology and science accurately, that you're going to have to acknowledge trans people at some point. You're going to have to talk about fucking sex and how that works, and he doesn't like that. You have to talk about gay people, and he doesn't like that. Or his base doesn't like that. I really don't know how the fuck he feels about it. When did you first realize you were trans, or did you always know? I pretty much always knew. When did I realize I couldn't stand living like a lie anymore? That was in 2020. That was when I came out in early 2020, and haven't looked back since, basically. The No Child Left Behind policy was insane. It's like it was architected to destroy creatively teaching. It was. I mean, from my understanding, it pretty much was. It was meant to standardize things so fucking much. It was basically a way that Republicans could artificially inflate test scores and education outcomes. That's really what it was. The Republicans wanted a way that they could effectively, they wanted to jerry-rig the numbers. They didn't want to outright rig them. They wanted to jerry-rig them. So change the standards a little bit, make everybody teach to the standardized test, because at least if you're just teaching to a test, that's like one specific fucking thing. It's an outcome. It's a set of fucking answers you can teach to, right? And I think that the intention behind it, because it's like, why did they want to strip kids of their creativity? Well, there's a lot of reasons why, but I think one of the little things that this was all meant to accomplish was to make America look a little better on the world stage, and to make Republicans look less bad in the eyes of the American people, to make the American political class really look less bad in front of the American people. They wanted to make it look like they were doing something. They wanted to make it look like they were really making a big old change. No Child Left Behind binds our generation together more than anything else. Yeah. No, 100%. Yeah. It reminds me of that funny fucking Carlin bit. It's like, first they get you talking about Head Start. Oh, I want my kid to get a head start. I want my kid to get a head start. And then they start talking about No Child Left Behind. No Child Left Behind. Head Start? Left Behind? Somebody's losing fucking ground here. Anyway, I think I might be done for the night. It's been fun, you guys. It's been super fun. Thank you for the folks who donated earlier, Mr. Naughty Priest especially. I always appreciated to see him hanging out here and contributing to the show. Um, thank you guys that just hung out and added an engagement and shit like that. I appreciate you guys. Everybody who argued with me, everything else, I like it. Thank you guys for hanging out. I'll answer one more question. Being from Mississippi, do you think you'll stay? Not exactly a community. I gotta be real with you. I don't know. I don't know. The land I live on has been owned by my family since the 1940s. I'm attached to it. I know this land like the back of my hand. I know the woods near here like the back of my hand. I remember them so well. It feels like it's mine. It breaks my heart to think about leaving it, but I also... God, I get so myopic thinking about the level of shit that needs done here. I don't even want to tell you guys about it. I don't even want to tell you guys, dude, the level of fucking shit that needs done here. It's absurd. It feels unconquerable by human hands sometimes. Just being real. So I don't know. My family values being able to grow our own garden. We value being able to raise some chickens and raise some goats and stuff like that. We value self-sufficiency in regards to our food supply to the maximum ability of ours to do that, which we have here. We have that here, but we don't have some other things that we need. Like we just don't, like, the property itself is just not that great. If it's not super fucking flooded out, then it's just dry as a bone. It's like the sand, the soil's drainage is almost too good, It'll get waterlogged for a while. As long as it's raining like twice a week, it'll stay waterlogged. But if it stops raining for more than 4 days, everything just dries up. And then by a week after the last rainfall, dude, you can't ever tell it's rained in a month. The climate here sucks. Even in North Mississippi, the climate fucking blows. It's always humid. It's always hot in the summer. It's usually hot in the spring. It's usually warmer than I'd like it to be in the fall, frankly. I mean, I can't tell you guys how many fucking Thanksgivings I've gone through down here in Mississippi throughout my long and lurid life. I can't tell you how many Thanksgivings I've gone through down here where it was like nice enough outside to be in shorts and a t-shirt when I was playing outside while the adults were picking. It's just ridiculous. It's just fucking insane. I don't even know. I don't even know, man. I don't know. I don't know if we'll stay here or not. There's a lot of considerations that go into it, I have a family, so there's that to consider. I don't know. I just genuinely do not know. Anyway, stream may night. Be safe, everyone. You guys have a great night. I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.